It's kind of amazing how quickly the Pokemon community loses its mind over the little things.
Wait, don't be fooled. She's just a regular Malibu Stacy with a stupid cheap hat.
But she's got a new hat.
But I guess that's to be expected at this point. It just wouldn't be Pokemon without a little chaos and anarchy.
And here we go.
I'm Pokemon Classics, and I invite you to join me for our monthly recap. Hey everybody, what's up from Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics never go out of style. Today we're breaking down the top news stories in Pokemon along with some of my own thoughts and commentary on each one. That is the goal of this channel, after all, is to keep you all informed whether it's the good, the bad, or the ugly. Also, as is tradition on this series, don't forget to stick around to the end of the video for my top 5 content recommendations. These are some of the best PokeTuber videos of the month, and I'd highly encourage you to give each and every one a watch. Anyway, let's dive into our first story. First up, we have some international news that simply won't Van Gogh away. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. But as I'm sure most of you are already aware, Pokemon recently teamed up with the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam for a collaboration celebrating the museum's 50th anniversary. The concept was a simple one: create a Pokemon-themed scavenger hunt around the museum in which visitors could take in some fine art while also hunting for Pokemon. Museum patrons who finished their scavenger hunt could then visit the gift shop for some exclusive Pokemon merchandise, along with a unique Pikachu promo card illustrated in Van Gogh's signature style. Now, let me start by saying that I absolutely love this concept. As an educator and someone who enjoys visiting museums, this seemed like the perfect way to introduce a new and potentially younger audience to Van Gogh and his paintings. However, the event quickly turned chaotic due in part to unexpectedly high demand, poor logistical planning, and the unfortunate and disheartening reality of mob mentality. Videos quickly emerged of people pillaging products, with several reports of stolen promo cards, rampant on-site scalping, and people bypassing the scavenger hunt entirely, heading straight for the products with recycled papers. I'm not going to lie, I find this type of behavior to be incredibly disheartening, though not at all surprising. After seeing how successful the Scream promos have been on the secondary market, it seems inevitable that people would be desperate to cash in on the latest art crossover. This was only exacerbated by the museum's lack of preparedness, failing to institute item limits, a verification process, or a clear exit strategy to keep the flow of people moving in an orderly fashion. Personally, I don't fault the museum or its employees, but rather the individuals who took advantage of the event and escalated the chaos. Perhaps I'm too idealistic, but I believe we all have a moral mandate to be professional and respectful ambassadors of the hobby as a whole, especially as guests at such a revered place as a museum. I know that it's not human nature in these types of situations, and trust me, I've taught Lord of the Flies to high schoolers for 13 years. I get it. Still, that's my personal take, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Anyway, to cap off this story, the Pokemon Center website also offered the Pikachu promo cards, but was plagued with instability, overwhelmed by bots, and sold out almost instantly. In some ways, the online chaos overshadowed the museum melee. Just watching the real-time updates and discussions on message boards and discords was kind of a surreal event all of its own. Even Pokemon news sites like PokeBeach just couldn't keep up with the developments. I guess from here, all we can really do is wait and see what's next for this Pikachu promo card. Next, let's revisit a couple other highly anticipated Pokemon products finally making their English debut. Now, back on Pokemon Day, February 27th, the Pokemon Company announced the release of 2 Kanto-themed items, Pokemon 151 and Pokemon TCG Classic. Pokemon 151 has officially released in English, making its debut on September 22nd. As many of you already know, Pokemon 151 is a Scarlet and Violet expansion set featuring all 151 original Kanto Pokemon from the Pokédex, with reimagined artworks and plenty of nostalgia for vintage collectors like myself. While this set has been available in Japan for a few months already, for most casual collectors here in the United States, this is the first exposure to what is widely considered to be one of Pokemon's most anticipated sets of all time. A couple of interesting developments for the English release include the confirmation of God Packs. Well, sort of. Unlike the Japanese release, which had random God Packs featuring 2 full evolutionary lines of full art starters, Some English God packs have been discovered with just a single evolutionary line of just one of the starters. Personally, though, I see this as a win, since these types of gimmicks and lotteries are rarely carried over to English. And in addition to that, the English debut also saw a staggered release with ultra premium collections released a bit later on October 6th. Interestingly, Pokemon USA also decided to distribute two of the set's chase cards, Mew and Mewtwo, as promos in the UPC, along with a Metal Mew EX, which I believe is only the 5th metal card, joining Pikachu, Charizard, Arceus V, and Arceus V-Star. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not much of a modern collector, but this is the set that I'm excited for. I've actually picked up a few different products already, including some booster bundles, some Elite Trainer boxes, and even a couple Ultra Premium Collection boxes. Needless to say, I'll be having some pack opening videos here on the channel soon. The other Pokemon item on this list, Pokemon TCG Classic, hasn't arrived yet, but has been given an official release date of November 17th at a hefty price tag of $399.99, making it the most expensive Pokemon TCG item released by retail stores. Now, I've covered this item a bit in some of my previous videos, but TCG Classic is a premium box set featuring 3 playable decks, merging the original Big 3 from base set with a variety of modern EX cards. This blending of past and present is really cool in my opinion, appealing to both collectors as well as players, while also bridging the gap between vintage and modern. The box set will also come equipped with a foldable game board, stackable damage counters, and various other counters for special conditions. Pre-orders for this set on the Pokemon Center sold out almost instantly, but Pokemon also announced that the unique cards would be made available in a separate product coming in February of 2024, leading eager enthusiasts to speculate that the cards would be produced and sold without the box, the accessories, the damage counters, etc. at some point here in the future. Now, considering the price of the box, especially when compared to the Japanese version, which is retailing for about $160 less, it'll be interesting to see what people do with these sets once they actually obtain them. Will they keep them sealed as an investment play? Will they be used for actual gameplay as they're intended? Or will people grade and flip the cards individually, hoping to earn a profit? Personally, I suspect that we'll see some of all three. Anyway, you guys will have to let me know down in the comments if you think $400 is too much to spend on this set, or if you plan on picking up a box or two for yourself. And if so, what exactly are you planning to do with it? Let me know down in the comments below. It's time once more for the return of Pokemon's fan illustration contest. Last year, Pokemon put the contest on hold, but the previous year saw over 10,000 unique entries before eventually narrowing down the field to just 3 winners, each of whom had their cards printed and released as actual Pokemon promo cards. Talk about turning a dream into a reality. Now, the winners from 2022 include this contemplative Greninja with a fairly subdued color palette, a free-spirited Bulbasaur swinging in the trees, and a sleepy Arcanine giving off some weekend vibes. The theme of this year's Pokemon illustration contest is magical Pokemon moments and features a few of the usual suspects, including Pikachu, Charizard, and Eevee. But this year they'll also be joined by Feraligatr, Flygon, Absol, Bidoof, Melmetal, Toxtricity, and Koreadon. Personally, I'm excited to see what Feraligatr artworks we get. When I saw that name on the list, I couldn't help but think about the Expedition Feraligatr, which is one of the all-time great artworks in my opinion. Anyway, the competition this year will accept entries from October 12th through January 31st, 2024, and will be open to more participants than ever, with eligibility extended to residents of the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. This is in addition to Japan and the United States. There'll also be 5 different prizes awarded, including 15 Judges Awards, 6 first-place runner-ups, a Best EX card illustration, a Best Standard card illustration, and 1 grand prize winner who will receive a $5,000 cash prize and their illustration printed and distributed as an authentic Pokemon card. Personally, I think contests like this are really cool and one of the many unique things about Pokemon's involvement with its fan base. I've said it before and I'll say it again, but the Pokemon community is such a diverse mix of ages, personalities, interests, and passions, so get those art supplies ready and get to work, everyone. The clock is ticking to be the next Pokemon illustrator. Finally, let's talk about a party, but not just any party, Card Party 2.0. Last year in early June, PokeTube celebrity Pat Flynn, better known as Deep Pocket Monster, hosted a massive gathering of Pokemon collectors, enthusiasts, content creators, and fans for an extended weekend of Pokemon-related fun. And just like that, Card Party was born. Now, if you haven't seen any event coverage, I highly suggest you check out the recap video posted on the Deep Pocket Monster YouTube channel. But we got kids trick-shotting energy cards, fans meeting with their favorite YouTube celebrities around every corner, and there was even a world record reached for the most Pokemon packs opened simultaneously in a single venue. Pretty much everyone I talked to said that this was the premier Pokemon event for some wholesome Pokemon fun. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it last year since this event coincided with our last day of school, which is always difficult to miss as a teacher. However, this year Card Party is back, and this time it's a week later and in a new location. After teasing a few different locations, Pat officially announced Card Party would be hosted in Orlando, Florida at the Hilton from June 14th to June 16th. Now, I have to tell you guys, this venue looks amazing. Not only is everything on site at the hotel, eliminating parking and transportation, but this hotel has a water park, restaurant, outdoor recreational spaces, and so much more. This looks like another home run for Pat and for all those in attendance. This is a quick aside, but Pat, if you're watching this, I'm ready and eager to help out in whatever way that I can. These types of unifying events are exactly the kind of positivity our community deserves, and anything that helps build the foundation for future generations is something I want to be a part of, so you know where to find me, Pat. Anyway, the event schedule for Card Party 2.0 is still in the works, but Pat has already hinted at some of his plans in a few of his videos and interviews here on YouTube. For the latest updates, ticket information, and accommodations, check out the Card Party website. I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description below, but hopefully I'll see some of you all there. Anyway, guys, before I unveil the top 5 videos of the month, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel. I put in hours and hours of work into each and every one of these videos, and your support goes a long way in keeping me motivated and staying on the grind. But anyway, I truly appreciate you all for watching, so let's roll into the top 5. First on this week's top 5 list, I wanted to spotlight one of my favorite Pokemon news sources, PokeBeach, which has recently started a weekly video podcast. John, or Water Pokemon Master, has already released several episodes covering a variety of topics, including this inaugural episode talking about the Van Gogh Pokemon promos, amongst other topics. Anyway, I love the work that John and others are doing over at PokeBeach to keep people informed on the latest Pokemon news, so I definitely recommend subscribing to their YouTube channel and checking out some long-form Pokemon news content. It's a fascinating watch, and one I highly recommend. Next is a YouTube channel that I recently discovered, Tricky Gym, covering all sorts of gameplay history, strategy, and release information. Now, Tricky Gym is actually a very well-established channel here on YouTube, but as a collector, this isn't the type of content that would typically show up on my recommendation feed, so when I discovered Tricky Gym, I was instantly hooked. The videos I wanted to highlight aren't newly released videos, but I've been binge-watching early vintage deck battles, showcasing the strengths and weaknesses of some of the iconic decks from early competitive play. I think what I like most is the insightful yet lighthearted commentary during these videos, which transports me back into my own League days playing with friends. If you ever played the Pokemon trading card game growing up, this is a nostalgic trip you don't want to miss. This next video comes from Leonhart, who worked with an organization called Jamie's Dream Team to give a young cancer patient named Aidan an opportunity to fulfill his dream of co-hosting a Pokemon pack opening video with Leonhart. Now let me start by saying this. Aidan is an absolute legend, battling through a gauntlet of Pokemon challenges and bringing some much-needed inspiration to the rest of the world. To me, he was the real star of this video, and I love how so many people came together to make this event happen. The video concludes with Aidan getting the chance to open some heavy vintage packs with a crowd of friends and fellow Pokemon enthusiasts cheering him on. Do yourself a favor, go watch this video and leave a supportive message for Aidan in Leonhart's comments. This next one is a shout out to Tetra Ninja and Gem Mint Pokemon, who have teamed up to co-host the NextGen TCG podcast. These two have been pumping out the Pokemon podcast content over the last few months and are currently going on episode number 13. If you take a look through their catalog, you'll find videos covering all sorts of different topics, including collecting strategies, discussion on grading companies, market trends, trophy card hunting, and much, much more. Most recently, they discussed the importance of having a defined scope for collecting, or a collection identity as I like to call it. Anyway, it was a great episode, and I love these guys. They bring a ton of experience and insight to Pokemon collecting. If you're looking for another great podcast, add NextGen TCG to your watch list. Finally, we'll wrap this one up with something weird. Deep Pocket Monster recently made a video opening and responding to fan mail with an interesting and competitive twist to it. He was keeping track of how many Houndooms and Miltanks were sent to him. If he received 5 Houndooms first, he would spend $1,000 on a Pokemon card. But if he received 5 Miltanks first, he would spend $1,000 on a real-life cow. Now, I don't want to give away too much here, but this video took some twists and turns that I really wasn't expecting. Also, I have to say how wholesome and uplifting it was to see Pat engaging with his fans and responding to some of the many letters he receives. I love that. Anyway, I won't milk this one any longer. Go watch it for yourselves. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Breaking News, where we break down some of the most important Pokemon news stories each and every month. Let me know your thoughts on each of these stories down in the comments below, and if there's any major news stories that I missed, definitely send them my way. Anyway, guys, I'm Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics never go out of style. Thanks for spending your time with me here today, and we'll see you all with the next video. Stay well, everybody.